What if I told you that Floyd Mayweather's next fight might not even happen, not because of boxing, but because of a legal storm building behind the scenes? Right now, everything around his planned exhibition in Greece is hanging in the air. No one is fully sure if the fight will actually take place this weekend. And the reason isn't just sports politics, it's a growing web of legal and financial pressure that's starting to surround his entire comeback. Reports suggest that multiple legal actions are being taken against him, with claims tied to unpaid obligations and financial disputes that have now escalated far beyond the ring. Some of these issues include alleged back payments and ongoing financial responsibilities.
I want to say thank you to everybody. I want to say thank you for all the support. Greece, I'm on my way. Let's entertain, let's have fun, and let's get the people what they want to see.
That are now part of a larger legal conflict. And here's where it gets even more uncertain. If this fight doesn't happen, there are questions about how he continues to fund or stabilize the very situations that are now being used against him. But interestingly, Floyd himself still appears calm.
Started this exhibition stuff. How does it feel?
Well, it was good. You know, I think the first time it all started, it started with the Mayweather, Conor McGregor. It was, that was my idea of just mixing. How can I say this?
Almost as if nothing is happening at all. Meanwhile, the situation outside the ring is moving in a completely different direction. One of the major broadcasters originally linked to the event reportedly pulled out, raising serious doubts about whether fans will even get to see the fight if it goes ahead. The event is supposed to take place in Athens, but behind the scenes, distribution and broadcasting deals appear to be falling apart. At this point, the decision may not even belong to the fighters anymore. A U.S. federal court is now reportedly involved, reviewing whether the fight should be blocked entirely due to ongoing legal disputes. A hearing has already taken place, lasting hours, where lawyers argued over contractual rights tied to Mayweather's comeback fights. At the center of the dispute is a company claiming exclusive rights over his exhibition career, and they argue that Floyd has stepped outside of those agreements. Their concern is simple. If he continues fighting independently, it could damage the value of previously negotiated deals involving some of the biggest names in boxing history. And that includes potential mega fights still being discussed behind the scenes. But the situation gets even more complicated when you look at the timeline of his upcoming fights. On paper, Floyd Mayweather is reportedly tied to multiple major events, including high-profile matchups scheduled months apart, each linked to different promoters and platforms. That alone has created a scheduling conflict that legal teams are now trying to untangle, because every new deal seems to collide with an old one. And that's where the legal pressure really begins. Some argue that even training, performance, or injury risk could affect the value of other contracts, which is why the legal battle has now escalated into court action. Meanwhile, reports suggest millions of dollars have already been advanced across different agreements, adding even more financial weight to the dispute. But despite all of this, Floyd continues moving as if everything is under control.
I know everybody is going to want to ask questions, about the Pacquiao fight. Like I said, the sport of boxing has truly changed. We have a lot of new companies, a lot of new faces, and Netflix. I truly believe that we'll get this done. I think we're almost at the finish line to finish the Pacquiao fight. But a lot of things has changed in the sport of boxing, and eventually, I think within the next 48 hours, either the Pacquiao fight should be done.
He's currently in Greece, still preparing as though the fight is confirmed. And that contrast between public confidence and private chaos is exactly what's making this situation so unpredictable. But this story doesn't stop at contracts and broadcasting rights, because behind all of this, a much bigger conversation is happening about Floyd Mayweather himself. Over the years, he's made bold claims about his financial success, including statements that sparked debate about how accurate those numbers really are. Now, critics are pointing back at those moments and questioning whether the reality behind the scenes is very different. Because while massive money is still involved in his career, the structure around that money seems increasingly complicated, and some believe it's starting to catch up with him. Legal pressure is growing, financial scrutiny is increasing, and court involvement is now a real possibility. There are even claims that bankruptcy could eventually become part of the conversation if things continue moving in this direction. And then there's the most surprising part of all. During negotiations for one of his biggest exhibition deals, instead of focusing only on massive multi-million-dollar figures, there were reports of relatively small cash advances being requested and handled in unusual ways. For a fighter who once moved through 9-figure paydays, that detail alone raised eyebrows, because it doesn't match the image people expect. And that's why this situation feels different. It's not just about one fight anymore, it's about a career, a business empire.
He is facing 2 felony charges for passing a bad check for $200,000 and faces very serious criminal charges on that situation. So, September is a long way away. He's got to figure out what's going to happen in terms of his freedom, because if he's convicted, he's looking at a lot of years in prison for fraud and the types of things you do when you write a bad check for $200,000 for a watch. Which I would tell you this: if you are in the type of financial trouble that Floyd is very obviously in, it has been well reported in a lot of different places, all the issues he's had. I've reported about our Internal Revenue Service has a tax lien against him for over $7 million related to unpaid taxes for a couple of years. He also has a $1 million judgment against him because of back child support, because he got pregnant a stripper at his now closed strip club, and he owes that woman money, I guess, for child support. There's been a bunch of other civil cases. I think it's at least 4, it might be more, for unpaid bills related to like apartment rentals and jewelry and usage of private jets, and he's got a lot of...
Wait, so you telling me the dude Jonah that Floyd is suing, saying he frauded him out of $175 million or something, just dropped receipts that really gonna make Floyd look bad, like text messages? Floyd was saying he didn't know about certain things, and the guys were revealing text messages like this: I gave up all my jewelry and watches, all my woman bags. Remember, Floyd said he didn't know, or the watches or his jewelry got pawned, or his jewelry came up missing. Even down to text messages of the actual watch, as you can see right here. Floyd Mayweather watch loan. So apparently, and this is all alleged, but this is Jonah putting these receipts out saying that Floyd knew exactly what was going on. He was just spending his money out of control. He even said back in 2020, he put money in Floyd's pocket, and he put together the fight with Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather to give him some money, because Jonah was his business accountant or business manager, whatever. And there's the guy Jonah up there. He just spoke out, said, I don't want to litigate this issue through the media, nor do I want to embarrass Floyd publicly. Basically, he said Floyd just blew through his money. He tried to talk to him about his spending habits, and Floyd didn't listen. And I don't like it. What if I told you? What you think in the comments? What is going on? All of this
and a reputation all being tested at the same time.
Heading is really funny to read. Mayweather threatens to breach and then demands $150,000 in cash. Nothing screams super wealthy, financially free, $100 million in assets and cash and jewelry like Mayweather claims, quite like essentially extorting someone for $150,000 in cash. But I also want to point out down here, there's a highlighted part: advise CSI that it should deal with Walter Jordan on his behalf instead of Rechnitz. So I put my thumbnail to the first video down here because I was able to speak with Jonah Rechnitz, Floyd Mayweather's previous manager, on all of his dealings behind the scenes and why Floyd Mayweather is very quickly heading for bankruptcy. And what has been shared with me by multiple sources who are involved in these situations with Mayweather is that Walter Jordan is the new manager, and he's taken Floyd in a new direction. And what has been relayed to me is that they do not think it's heading in a good direction. And given all of this commotion, all this drama that Floyd Mayweather is facing, all this negative press, seems like he's been poorly advised right now. And I think he's...
And as of right now, one thing is clear: this story is far from over.